crypto warriors, changing our world day by day. The way of the crypto warriors, can't rely on the bankers, no way.
Good morning, Bix Weir, road2roo.com with your morning corner of Z's, your sip of chaga coffee. Well, let's talk. I have two morning horn of Z's this morning. The first one's going to be about silver. The second one's going to be about theta. Either way you go, I suggest new people 50-50, 50% silver in your own possession. Small denominations, 1 ounce or pre-1965 is my favorite, the U.S. coinage, silver coinage. Silver is going nuts, but it's about to go absolutely nuts. The shorts are massively short, over 300 million ounces of silver on the COMEX. A small handful of criminal banksters. Very small handful now. It used to be a larger handful. Now it's a very small handful. So every dollar that silver goes up, those criminals lose $350 million. But they don't have to book it until the end of the year. So hey, they got a couple more days to rig the price, right? So hang on to your hats. Today, we're almost at $27 and moving. That is you'll be laughing at $27 sometime next year. Laughing. Probably during the election chaos. Because silver is so important that they have to control the price or everything falls apart. Silver is the bank killer. The banks get killed, everything is gone. Everything. Well, hang on to whatever you have. Whoever has the tightest grip in their own possession wins this crazy game of pure market manipulation. Everything is manipulated. No, Trump did not rebuild the economy. He rebuilt the rigging operation, the rigging status. You cannot have an entire economy shut down for a year and the stock market booming. How do you do that? You click a mouse. You're in the basement of the U.S. Treasury in the trading department. You click a mouse. Greenspan's original computer programs he wrote in the 60s and 70s are still working at the Fed in New York and at the basement of the U.S. Treasury. Steve Mnuchin, head of computer rigging at Goldman Sachs. The game is ridiculous. Everybody should be laughing at it. Get your shit off these criminal, rigged fantasy markets. Everything you have is at risk right now. All right, back to silver. What the hell is going on? Yes, we are moving. We are moving well above the 20-day or 200-day, 100-day, and 50-day moving averages. They don't like this. Remember, JP Morgan's out of the silver short. They're silver long now in physical, massive amounts of physical. 5 times what the Hunt brothers had. Probably about 8 times what the Hunt brothers had in physical silver. And in gold, it's just off the charts. But the rules don't apply to everybody the same. The CFTC is a criminal organization. The DOJ is a criminal organization. The SEC is a criminal organization. They all have to be in place to pretend that these markets are freely traded. They are not. We've strayed so far from the American ideal of free markets. There is no turning back. We need a creative destruction event that Greenspan talks about in his book. Absolutely. That's the only way to get out of this shit. A creative destruction event will take out all banks, all your 401k, all your retirement assets that's not in your possession. If you want to get them in your possession, you got to open up a self-directed IRA. Go to perpetualassets.com. Perpetualassets.com. My friend Will Lair will help you do that. Don't know if there's enough time, but hey, if there's not enough time, you would have lost those assets anyway. So, yes, buy physical silver by the boatload. These prices are ridiculously manipulated by a handful, very small handful of traders. And I can tell you who they are. Right now, did you see this bump on December 21st? Ridiculous. I mean, the amount of derivatives being traded to control the silver price is so silly. How silly is it? Look at the OCC report. This is the Office of Comptroller of Currencies. Now, this is for the first quarter. They're way lagged when they report this stuff. But remember what was happening in the first quarter. JP Morgan and friends were slamming the price of silver down. It was about to hit $30. They slammed it down to $14, $12. At the end of March, the price of silver was $14. At the end of March, JP Morgan had about $29 billion in silver derivatives. Now, you could say, hey, Bix, these are not just silver. It's all precious metals. I get that. But the massive majority of those are silver derivatives. Massive majority. And it doesn't count gold derivatives, by the way. That's the other table, which JP Morgan is way off the charts with that. Let's look at that first. This is the gold and foreign exchange derivatives. Yes, the value of the dollar is not a supply and demand thing either. The value of the dollar is determined by the derivatives set by the banksters and the Federal Reserve. It doesn't matter what they do. They can print as much money as they want. They can control the value of the dollar through the derivatives. For example, JP Morgan at the end of March had, holy crap, $10 trillion in foreign exchange and gold derivatives. $10 trillion. What could go wrong with $10 trillion? Total assets, $2 trillion. But they had $10 trillion in derivatives. Their total derivatives is $60 trillion. They only have $2.6 trillion in assets, $2.7 trillion. And yet they're allowed to place side bets in the $60 trillion range. And the gold maturities, $10 trillion with foreign exchange derivatives. Back to silver. Silver's the tiny market. Silver's the bank killer. Let me tell you what this equates to. I even wrote it down. So they have $29.37 billion worth of silver derivatives. At $14, that equates to over 2 billion ounces of silver derivatives. 2 billion ounces. Why? To rig the price. That's all. What's the only other U.S. bank? Citibank, with $7 billion, which is $536 million. So these are the two big riggers, one way or the other, on the derivative side. Let's see who was taking delivery. Why is Wells Fargo, for their house account, having to deliver 7.5 million ounces of silver in December? They barely made any, they don't even show up on the derivative report. They don't even show up, but they had to deliver 7.5. Why didn't they show up? Maybe they didn't have it. Back here, look, it's blank and empty. Blank and empty until September, when they started having to deliver silver, physical silver, from a house account. That's the H. This is insane. They all collude together, these big banksters. Wells Fargo got suckered into this one, and they better show up on this report for the fourth quarter, because their name is not even there. Unless they lied to the regulators. Surprise, surprise. Let's look at who else. Scotia Capital, that bank that said that they're getting out of the gold and silver markets, remember? They said that back in March, right when everything went crazy. Look at all the silver they've taken off for their own account. This month is their biggest month. That's 16.5 million ounces of physical silver. Scotia Capital, that bank that's not going to trade gold or silver anymore, is walking away. They're walking away with a ball. Look at JP Morgan. Look at these numbers. Just off the charts for their customer account. Remember Blythe Masters saying, "Oh, we don't hold the directional book. We just trade for customers." Bullshit. Then why did these happen? Right here. Gigantic deliveries back in, what was that? July and September. So JP Morgan, the big mother of all. Look at all those deliveries. And they, for their customers are getting screwed. They're having to provide the metal. That's the bottom number. The soppers are having to provide the metal. Give it up. And then where's that other asshole bank, Citibank? And this is the interesting one. Because Citi only usually plays in derivatives. Look at this. They took delivery of 1,182 contracts over 5 million ounces, And they've never taken delivery. Look at that. They've had to pony it up. But look at that. They took delivery in December. Why are these people running away with the silver? Because the game's over. This is the end game. This quarterly report just shows how ridiculous this idiotic market called silver futures and options COMEX. There is no other place where price is determined. The LBMA, nobody even looks at it anymore. It's not an exchange. They don't even claim to be an exchange. It's an association where they say, oh, here's the 2 o'clock fix and the 10 a.m. fix. It's all bullshit. Look at the volumes. They claim to be shipping from one vault to another over 100 billion ounces every year. That's just stupid. And anybody who believes these numbers, go listen to Jeffrey Christian. Rub his head first. And then go listen to Jeffrey Christian. He's not an idiot. He's a criminal. There's a difference. He might be an idiot as well, though. So yes, the silver game is so big. I've always said silver will probably be the last to break free because it is such a destructive price to the banking cabal. And when it does break free, you name the price. Gold and silver will pass 1-to-1. I've always said silver and gold should be traded 1-to-1 right now because there's 6 billion ounces of each that are available. 6 billion ounces of silver and 6 billion, that's if you melt all the forks, everything that you can get your hands on. It's about 6 billion ounces of each, so they say. I think there's a hell of a lot more gold, but let's just stick with the normal, what the mainstream says. They say about 6 billion ounces of each. What should they be valued at? I'd say at least 1-to-1, but gold isn't even useful. It's a store value, that's all. Silver is absolutely necessary for our future. So theoretically, I think silver should trade 10 times the amount of gold. And why doesn't it? This is why right here, JP has a 2 billion ounce derivative position to control prices and to rig markets. That is breaking apart. I talked about this in length with Jenny Moonstone last week, and I posted all 3 of those videos. Go check it out if you're into silver. We talk a lot about when these silver warriors will complete their task. I do believe it started on the 14th. On the 14th, right in the, let's see here, right in here. This was the solar eclipse. Yeah, if you believe in the spiritual stuff, I see this thing going boom. I don't see a big knockdown. I don't see it going below the 200-day moving average, but we'll find out soon enough. We do know one thing, that these banks have to declare where their book sits on December 31st. So I do expect a lot of action this week as we approach the end of the reporting quarter and end of the year. As you can tell, obviously, Citibank, JP Morgan, Scotiabank, they're all running for the hills. They don't want to report that, oh, by the way, we've lost another $5 billion betting on silver. What are you even in the silver market for? You're a bank. You're FDIC insured bank. Why are they allowed to have $60 trillion in derivatives if they're an FDIC insured bank? That means we, the taxpayer, has to bail out banks. Because where does the FDIC get their money? They get a little bit from the banks, a little fee per month. They get all their money from Congress, which is us. And it dilutes the value of our money. The game's got to end one day. And I suggest we end it yesterday. You want to know more about silver? Go to roadtour.com. Join the private road. Check out the Unstoppable Spiritual Silver interview. Also talk about secret gold and theta versus theta fuel. I'm going to talk about theta in a minute. If you have silver and that's it, no crypto, you are missing out. Missing out on the biggest mover ever that we'll be seeing. Way beyond what Bitcoin has ever done. And I explain why on the road to Ruta. I'll talk about that second in the Horn of Z's. You guys take care.
Well, here's a true story about a man just like you. He worked his whole life, he was honest and true. Built up a nest egg the way they said to. Invest in the market, money works for you. And everything is fine, picking the winners every time. Started to believe he can make dollars out of dime. Little did he know he's being primed for a fall. The riggers let you play, then the riggers steal the ball. We want free markets, not a million phantom trades. Lest everyone's honest, we're gonna lose what we made. We got to shut down exchanges, trade one for one. We want free markets, well, our work's just begun. Free markets are the road to freedom. Capitalism, not as bad as they say. The world has never tried it, rigging markets every day. Socialists fail every time in every way. We need a better system to forge a better day. We want free markets, not a million phantom trades. Lest everyone's honest, we're gonna lose what we made. We gotta shut down exchanges till they trade one for one. We want free markets, our work's just begun. Free markets are the road to freedom. I said free markets are the road to freedom. Crypto solution, if only done right. We can take out the liars, bring dark into light, and trust in the math, not the people who lie. I think we can make it if we give it a try. We want free markets, not a million phantom trades. Lest everyone's honest, we're gonna lose what we made. We gotta shut down exchanges till they trade one for one. We want free markets, our work's just begun. 'Cause free markets are the road to freedom. I said free markets are the road to freedom. Free markets are the road to freedom.